Hello, my name is Beth Dixon, and this is a video series based on Vicki Borlaug's PowerPoint presentation on hypothesis testing on the mean. We will look at problems with X normally distributed and sigma unknown, sigma being the population standard deviation. I wish to thank Mrs. Borlaug for allowing me to use her PowerPoint to make this set of videos, and this is part 3 of the series on this set of PowerPoint. Not set of PowerPoints, but on this PowerPoint. Must be getting tired today. Okay, in this procedure that we have 5 steps. And here are our 5 steps. We set up the hypotheses. We define the critical region using the alpha risk. We use the data to find the test statistics. We make a conclusion based on the data to either reject HO or do not reject HO, and then we write a sentence in terms of H1. For Mrs. Borlaug, she uses a structure as well to help you out with that, and you can see that structure given here. In parts 1 and 2, we talked about this in detail and did an example using this structure. There are certain parts of this that are more difficult than others. One part seems to be setting up the initial hypothesis. Another part seems to be writing the sentence. So our next examples will concentrate on just those steps, leaving out some of the easier steps in the center. So our directions on these are just to fill in the blanks to look at those types. So we want to test the claim that the mean weight is less than 16.7 ounces. Notice that we know that we're doing a hypothesis test by the phrase test the claim. And our claim is that the mean weight is less than 16.7 ounces. So we will write that in our H1. That is what we're trying to prove. It does not contain the condition of equality. There's no equal to in that statement. So it needs to go into the alternate. So that's mu less than 16.7. Our HO then is the opposite of being less than 16.7, which would be greater than or equal to 16.7. The next question we want to ask is this a one-tailed or a two-tailed test? In this case, this is a one-tailed test, and it will be a left tail test because less than shades to the left. Now, this is the part that's usually a little bit easier, so we'll skip that part and just look at what the conclusion is, or our sentence is. If the null hypothesis, HO, was rejected with a alpha equaling 0.10, what would the sentence be in terms of H1? If you would like, pause and try to write the sentence yourself. But because of our sentence, our phrasing, the first part of the sentence should start with using a 0.10 level of significance. That's the first part of the sentence. It is always concentrating on what level of significance. The second part of the sentence is the phrase there is evidence to say or there is not evidence to say. Since we rejected HO, the null hypothesis was rejected, there is evidence to say. And the last part is just a repetition of what we're claiming, of what's in our original problem, that the mean weight is less than 16.7 ounces. And together that creates our sentence. Using a 0.10 level of significance, there is evidence to say that the mean weight is less than 16.7 ounces. Let's try another one. Test the claim that the mean checkout time in a store differs from 8.2 minutes. Notice that word differs. That means not equal to. We could have said is not 8.2, but differs is another form of that. It simply means that the mean is not equal to 8.2 minutes. So that gives us the null equaling 8.2 minutes. Is this a one-tailed or a two-tailed test? Remember I said to look at H1 to determine whether it is a one-tailed or two-tailed. Less than would be a left-tailed test. Greater than is a right-tailed test. Not equal to means we're testing both less and greater than, and therefore is a two-tailed test. This will be a two-tailed test, so since we want to detect not equal to 8.2 minutes. Not equal means we are testing for higher or lower values than the claim. So this is a two-tailed test. If the null hypothesis HO was not rejected with alpha equaling 0.05, what would the sentence be in terms of H1? Remember that we want to say our sentence in three parts. The first part, using a 0.05 level of significance, there is not evidence to say. The not is here because we did not reject the null hypothesis. And we want to say what? That the mean checkout time differs from 8.2 minutes. And the last part always repeats the claim. Next example. Test the claim that the mean trunk diameter is more than 12 centimeters. Our claim is the mean is more than 12 centimeters. Mean greater than 12. That gives us the null at the mean less than or equal to 12. Notice that this goes into H1 because it does not contain the condition of equality and because it is what we want to prove. Is this a one-tailed or a two-tailed test? Mu greater than 12 would be a one-tailed test and would actually be a right-tailed test. To write the sentence, we have if the null hypothesis HO was not rejected with alpha equaling 0.01, what would our sentence be in terms of H1? And remember, we always write our sentence in terms of H1. Three parts again. The first part, using a 0.01 level of significance. There is not enough evidence to say not because the null was not rejected. There is not enough evidence to say, and then repeat the claim that the mean trunk diameter is greater than 12 centimeters. And we will stop here and pick up with another example on a full problem in the conclusion of this series of videos. Thank you for watching.